Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I've been overwhelmed with the love on this channel, so thank you so much for being loyal to this channel and for subscribing. This really means a lot. Today we're going to make some oil paint from scratch, starting from the pigment powder and grind our paint to our liking. This is a very simple process, so don't be intimidated, and you only will need a couple of tools. We're gonna make it from scratch, so starting from the pigment powder and grinding our pigment into some linseed oil and creating our own paint. The interesting thing of making your own paint is that you actually can do whatever you want with your paint and create the exact type of oil paint that you want. So let's get into the materials, and I will walk you through step by step so that at the end of this video, with just a few tools, you can make your own oil paint. So the material you will need are very simple. First of all, you need a glass slab, and I got mine from IKEA for about €6, but you can use an old frame as well. I just treated it with some sandpaper to make the surface a little bit rougher. Some pigment powder, and you can get this from any art supply store. I got mine from Kramer, which is a German art supply store specialized in pigment. I'm gonna put the link below, but for sure you can find it in your local art supplies shop. Some linseed oil as binder, and you can use any generic linseed oil that you find and you use with your paint generally. You need a glass grinder, but you can use as well the bottom of a general glass that you don't use anymore for drinking, and that will do the job if you don't want to invest in a grinder. You would need a little spatula and as well some measuring spoons. And these, of course, are specific for this type of work. Don't use the one that you use for cooking. And a face mask, because the pigment powder can be toxic eventually. I like to measure a ratio of 2 to 1, so 2 tablespoons of pigment powder versus a tablespoon of linseed oil. I will put the recipe below, but you need to play around a little bit, as different pigments tend to absorb differently and different amount of oil. So it's just nice to play around and get creative and experiment, and if you mess up, it's not a problem. I like to add a couple of drops of Galkid as well, just to make the paint to dry faster, but that is not necessary. So the first step will be to combine the oil with the pigment using your spatula, and mush it until you have some sort of combined paste. This doesn't need to be super uniform, it's just nice to have a good base to start grinding. So do this for a few minutes until you get the results like the one you see on the screen now. When you are happy with that, using the bottom of your glass or your grinder, start grinding the paint using a figure eight, I believe it's called, type of motion, or little circles as well. This will require a lot of time. As you can see here, the pigment, the paint or the proto paint is still quite thick and quite transparent. So basically here you want to get a uniform paint, a uniform paste. You want the pigment to disperse into the oil uniformly. I like to use my palette knife to recollect the paint when it's stuck on the grinder or on the surface and repeat this figure eight motion over and over again. This will require, of course, sometimes. Anything between 20 minutes to an hour could be fine, I believe, and then it depends to your pigment. For example, I'm using here PB27, which is Prussian blue, and I found are happy with the consistency of your paint, and you can try on a piece of paper if it works, now it's time to collect it and put it in your palette. I like to use these little empty tubes, and this is pretty buttered, don't mind that. Just because I use a little gel kit to get the process of drying much quicker, so I needed to keep it airtight. Otherwise, tomorrow the paint will be solid. If you don't use gel kit, you could just lay it on your palette and use it straight away, or when you are happy, you will get about a week of time frame from the moment you make it to when you can use it. I really hope you enjoy this little tutorial, and if you made your own paint, I will be really happy to see what you've done. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd be really happy to answer any additional question on making your own paint. Please remind to subscribe to my channel and share this video. This really means a lot. I'll see you very soon. So long.